Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to another edition of the Funky Monkey MMA Radio. I'm your host, Rob Meade, joined by my co-host, Fred Rodriguez. How you doing today, bud?
Doing real well, Rob.
So, let's talk a little bit who we got on the show today.
Real excited today. This is it's a big day for me, even though he's a good buddy of mine. Today on the show, we've got UFC Hall of Famer, Triple Crown UFC title holder, and one of my idols, Dan the Beast Severn.
What's up there, Fred? Rob?
How you doing today?
I tell you what, it's a beautiful day. I should normally be in Coldwater, Michigan, but I'm south of Louisville, Kentucky, on my way to Nashville, Tennessee. Going to be part of a Canine Cop convention taking place. Well, actually takes place this evening and tomorrow, but tomorrow I'll be doing a little demonstration with dogs, fight suits, and the whole 9 yards. It'll be make for an interesting day.
So you've got dogs attacking you?
Well, no. Actually, it was interesting. I was actually approached by a gentleman that's a canine dog trainer, and he was trying to combine. Well, he had been to one of my law enforcement ground defensive tactics classes. He liked how I taught, what I was teaching, and the simple concepts. And then he said he wanted me to see what he does with the dogs and some of the basic types of bites that they make on suspects that are trying to flee from him. So basically, he brought out a couple dogs, and what they call the decoy. The decoy is the worst job in the world, because you got a guy that suits up in this big heavy-duty suit, and literally they release the dog on you. So it's not, you don't really want to play decoy. It's not a fun role.
Thanks. You can have that job.
Yeah, you're just a glorified chew toy, really, is what you are. So
That's hilarious.
So when they were doing this, he was asking me, how would I approach going in, to put the suspect down to the ground into a handcuffing type of position, stuff like this. And they just liked the fluidity of how I did things, and it was basically there's a couple basic principles, and the same thing that he had seen me do when we were when he had went to one of my law enforcement classes. So it morphed into things, and then basically we just progressed it to there's a national convention that takes place tonight. It's kind of like the social banquet, stuff like that, and then tomorrow we'll be out at various classes that will be taking place, and we'll be demonstrating a class tomorrow afternoon where we'll be in a classroom for just a little bit. He'll give some of his concepts, stuff like that. I'll teach a few basic techniques in the classroom, and then it's now let's join with the dogs in that. So that's
very interesting.
What we do is, I know it probably didn't what you think we'd be getting into when we'll be talking mixed martial arts, professional wrestling, or whatever have you, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you're 55 years old and you're still traveling the road. I mean, last time I talked to you, I think you were in Arizona. That was
right.
last week.
And literally, oh yeah, it is. I mean, I left on a Monday about 1 o'clock. I laid down 16 hours and rolled into Tulsa, Oklahoma around 9 a.m. is when I laid my head down, and by 6 o'clock that evening I was teaching class.
Wow.
So I'm still hitting it hard. I enjoy it. I mean, I have my youngest son there with me, and so the reality is, I was just sharing with them in my planner, my portable brain, as I refer to it as, that he's like, was wondering, like, how long am I going to keep up this pace for? I says, 2023. And then it's like, it's a very specific date. It says that'll be 1 year after you graduate out of college. So your old man's going to stay busy just that long. But even then, Fred, you've known me for a number of years. If I was stranded on a deserted island, I would be organizing the shelves on the shore. That's just the kind of person I am. I just sit around and do nothing. I don't know how to do that.
Absolutely. I remember training back in the day, and we'd all be done sitting down doing nothing, and you'd still be running around the office promoting, getting a seminar ready, getting the show ready, and I'd be thinking, man, hoping at 55 I'm doing something like that. Of course, now I'm almost 50, and I'm talking to you on the phone and probably in your weight class now.
Well, you got me hand-me-downs. Just keep around.
Yeah, I need some of those black shorts and that gray T-shirt that you wore to the ring all the time.
Oh, I've got that's a lot of people always wonder about that type of wardrobe, but I always tell them, I said, that's standard issue at any college. If you go in an issued your workout gear, it's a standard set of grays, and because people always just used to say how much sweat was on my gray, and I said that's how I used to grade my workouts. If I would sweat through, standard workout was two sweaty shirts. A really good hard workout was 3. So, and I mean just soft and wet. You take it out, throw it against the wall, and it's like, just came out of the washing machine.
So I got to ask you, Dan. You've been all over the world. Like, where's your favorite place to travel to?
Well, ironically, in the last 60 days, I was in St. Petersburg, Russia, and just a little over a week ago, I just arrived back from Odessa, Ukraine. So it's even in the last 60 days, just to let you know how crazy of a schedule. And the first one was scheduled in St. Petersburg, Russia, and it went so well there. I was just doing a seminar and stuff like that. And the guy liked what I was teaching, how I was teaching, and then he invited me to go to Odessa, Ukraine. That went so well that now I have yet a different group that is looking for me to come into Italy. And I'm thinking, well, twist my arm here just a little bit. That sounds like a tough job to take.
Now you just need to get in the back of a gondola and start singing those songs with the mustache and everything. That should work out real well.
I got the stash. I think I can throw on the old hat there. I can make it work, I think. I can make it work.
I think so. If they ever do another Mario Brothers film, you should get in there.
Well, now that's still the funny stuff, because I would have some guys show up, with my final couple years of competition, and the greatest one, and I ended up getting a picture of it, like 5 or 6 guys showed up, and they had these big old Mario Brothers mustaches on. And it was fantastic. I go, you guys got to take a picture with me. And these guys are like, man, that's so cool that I would simply stop and take a photograph with them and that and put it up on Facebook.
Hilarious.
What they did. And
I think I lost him for a second there. Still with us there? Looks like he might be in a bad area. We might have lost him here for a second.
Hey, you guys still there?
I'm here. I think we might have lost Dan for a moment.
Okay, yeah, I heard something going on there.
Yeah, I think we lost him for a second. I'm sure we'll get him back here in just a moment. I was thinking about some funny stories that we have while he's traveling down the road. Him and I are in a van one night in Virginia, and we're going to different clubs and areas trying to promote a fight program for the Danger Zone, which is a promotion that he runs. And we're in the van. It's late. We trained all day, and then we're both going to have to fight the next day, or I think I'm refereeing the next day, and Dan's fighting. It's probably 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're texting, talking on the phone, trying to set up going to new clubs, and we're running parallel to a train track. All of a sudden, the train honks the horn, and Dan grabs the wheel and swings it over to the side of the road, and we're both having a heart attack because we thought we were about to get hit by a train. That's a typical Dan Severn day. He's doing so much at one time, you just never know what he's up to.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy situation going all over the world, traveling with Severn, doing, helping him referee and run that company, the Danger Zone. It's a lot of fun. While I got a minute here, I want to mention our sponsors, KOBKfighter.com. If you guys get a chance to take a look at that,
we got a caller online. that you, Dan?
Yep. I just had walked into a building there to pay for some gas, and I came out and I dropped the call, you guys. So just head back out the vehicle, and then words of Willie Nelson on the road again.
That's how it is. So I got an interesting question since we were talking about mustaches a few minutes ago. What would it take? Let's say Vince McMahon offered you a mustache versus mustache match with Don Fry. What would it take to get you to shave it?
Oh, it's ironic because I come up a number of times, and they would say who's got the better stash. So I said, well, Don's is bigger, bolder, but that's because it's cheaper, okay? But I was the originator, so you got to give me kudos for being the first one there. And what a lot of people may or may not know is that Don was one of my wrestlers at Arizona State University when I was chair. So it's a lot of people may just know me from the world of mixed martial arts.
Speaking of your Arizona wrestling, I was really interested to find out recently that not only were you one of the Sunkist kids, you were the original Sunkist kid.
The original Sunkist kid. It started back in 1976. Hey, Fred, I mean, again, I don't know what you remember or what I've told you over the years, stuff like this, but I always tell people that I won the national title in 1972. So it's not like, this is all a novelty there to me jumping into the Ultimate Fighter and cage fighting and things of that nature. I mean, competition has been a part of my life my entire life.
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts on
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on wrestling, possibly being eliminated from the Olympics.
I've done a number of interviews on to me, and to me it's like, the comes to mind is, you got to be kidding me. It's one of the two original sports being wrestling and some form of track and field. If they're going to get rid of the wrestling out of the Olympics, you might as well simply change the name under the Olympic Games. And and you're still going to allow, and I hate to harp on these, I aim signal out a few different sports here. If you're still going to allow badminton, ping pong, you got equestrian. Equestrian is a human being versus another human being. It's people riding horses. And just because, you got more money and can afford a better horse than me, it's not. The Olympic Games is all in the name of the human spirit of you being me and things of that nature, no matter what the sport is. So to me, to see some that they do allow and to take the greatest, man's oldest sport, take it out, it's ridiculous. But the sad part is, it's all due to corruption. It's all due to money. And most of the Americans will really never know the true reason why the sport of wrestling is essentially on the chopping block. The final vote comes in September. It doesn't look good right now, but that's when the final vote really comes in, and then we'll know where it stands.
Yeah, let's all keep our fingers crossed. If you can do anything to support keeping Olympic wrestling alive, post on your Facebook wall, do everything you can, sign that petition that's out there, because in my mind, the Olympics are not the Olympics without wrestling. It's not the Olympics anymore. It's just a bunch of collective sports. If badminton is a sport and you get a gold medal for it, then guys like Dan Severn and Mark Coleman and the guys who actually wrestled and Bruce Baumgartner, those guys cannot be forgotten.
No, it is. I mean, it's the irony to some of this is that you've got something like every country that does our form of wrestling is called folk style. The rest of the world does freestyle and Greco-Roman. So the reality is, by a time a college graduate, he pursue freestyle and Greco at that time on a full-time basis. So Americans, as a whole, we have been behind the eight ball. So that's the bad part about it, and the reality is, upon graduation, 99.9% of all high school wrestlers will finish with their, it's a rare exception that will go beyond the high school career that will ever wrestle in college. And then those that go on to, after on a collegiate basis, beyond, you might as well, you have better odds of picking out the winning lotto ticket numbers as opposed to ever a career in amateur wrestling. There's no money in it. You know, when you look at a regular sport, the whole lines are like football, basketball, baseball, and in some states hockey. There's a true pro division to move on to. There isn't for wrestling. So when you actually leave college, you have to have tangible skills so that you can move on in your life in the world.
Absolutely. That, you know, I guess the only pro league brings me to a good point is, you know, going from your transition from wrestling, amateur wrestling, to mixed martial arts. That's really the only avenue as a wrestler that you have other than going to the Olympics, and if it's gone, it's gone. But you are the first. There would be no Mark Coleman, Tito Ortiz, Dan Henderson, Randy Couture. There'd be none of those guys if not for bringing wrestling into martial arts.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right. I mean, I credited with unleashing the floodgates of amateur wrestlers in all of what was known as cage fighting, as no holds barred, and a lot of your listeners can be familiar with those terms, but that's what the industry was known as. The product that they all watch right now on television, mixed martial arts, it's civilized. It has rules. It has regulation. It has approximately 37 rules. And
I remember talking to you about this before and having you telling me about your contract, and the bottom of the contract had an interesting clause on it when you first started in the UFC.
Oh, yes, it simply stated in black and white, in the event of accidental death, the company was not responsible, and I'll take a G. There's only two rules. No biting, no eye gouging. I think a lot of different ways you could take a man's life without ever violating those two rules.
Yeah, that's a scary prospect.
And there were such as for example, like Tank Abbott, that he would have loved to have been the first one to secure that.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember hearing about
a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry, my son was just putting on his seatbelt there just now, so we have a violation. I have to beat him here real quick.
So Dan, after the long grueling fights and stuff, what was your favorite thing to chow down on?
You know, I mean, Fred knows, man, I've got the stomach. I mean, literally, I will eat anything and everything. I think that's what's always made me travel well. I've been to countries, and I haven't a clue as to what's on my plate. But as I see all the my host there chowing down, I figured, well, it didn't kill them. I kind of doubt if it's going to kill me. So you could just chow down right along there with them. And
yeah, I've been to the feeding trough a few times with you.
The most interesting one was being one of the first times in Japan as an amateur wrestler. I was taken out to an old traditional Japanese restaurant, and you're sitting down, shoes off, and your legs curled up underneath you. And they brought out a little wooden bowl full of. I mean, these fish were alive still, and each of the Japanese hosts, I mean, they actually were reaching out one of these fish and biting the heads off, and then turning it around and brains and stuff like this out of these fish, and then chowing down the rest of the fish. And thinking, wow, I've heard of fresh sushi, but this is about as fresh as it gets here right now. And all kind of looking at me like, okay, there, big guy, your turn. And I'm picking up this fish. I'm going to just bite its head off. So I turned it sideways like an ear of corn, and I still remember biting and having that fish just stiffening up on me. I'm going, whoa, that was to get through. But I only had first. I didn't go back for seconds.
Yeah, I can see that. That's crazy. There are no surprises when it comes to Japanese food. They'll eat just about anything.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's amazing. It's an amazing country, and what with a little bit of real estate, how much they can pack area. Just being in my first Japanese hotel room there, I mean, literally I could cross and touch both sides of the wall. That's how wide my room was. And by the time I sit down on the bed, if I lean forward and untie my shoe, I'd bump right into the wall, and stuff like this. Laying in bed, I'd park my feet just to watch the little, it was a 4 or 5 inch little Sony television I was watching at the time. It was crazy how much, again, they put into one area, but then, later, I think a few years after that, I even read about how they have what they call coffin hotels, where the room is really no bigger than a coffin.
That's crazy. Especially for somebody your size to get put in there.
Yeah, so it's just, interesting things that you learn, through travels.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we have somebody on the phone that wants to talk to you.
Actually, we have Dan Severn's on the line right now. Dave Davis, are you there?
Hey, yeah, how's it going? Dan Severn, my partner in crime at the UFC MMA. I was the ring announcer. Oh, I don't know if Dan can hear me.
Yeah, look, I could barely make out anything that was said there. Just last name Davis.
Yeah, Dave Davis, the ring announcer at WFC MMA out at the MGM Grand. We did the show together.
Yes, how are you doing there, Dave?
I'm doing good, man. I saw you on the show. I was invited to come on and call you and ask you a few questions, see how you was doing.
Well,
hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan. Ask away.
Man, I tell you what, we had a good time out there, man, with the WC MMA. We got to see Team China and Team USA just had some insane matchups. And I was on the way back from the MGM Grand going to the hotel on the shuttle. And do you remember Wayne the Boss Tsai got disqualified in his title bout?
Yes, yeah. For it was a close call on a knee being on the ground and being kneed in the face. Yeah, very close call.
Well, it was funny because his opponent got taken out on a stretcher in an ambulance, and they awarded the belts by disqualification to his opponent. Well, I'm sitting on the shuttle going back over to my hotel, and this couple told me, they said, we saw this guy. He was in a wheelchair and he had 2 belts and he won that. They go, our question is, what does his opponent look like?
Well, I do believe it was reversed. The decision was, and I think it was ruled. Ultimately, it was ruled a no contest.
Right. Well, it was a good show. I mean, I had a really good time out there at the show, and it was a good show. And I would love to see more of the Team China and Team Russia. Alexei Olenek and Mike Stewart. Alexei was just impressive as all get out. Have you heard anything else about if they'll be doing any more in the States or not? Oh, not sure if Dan's hearing me.
Looks like we lost Dan there.
Well, I was just going to ask him about that. And you fellas might be able to ask him that. Oh, and by the way, Rob, thanks for being the 1,000th person on my page.
No, but I'm right back again, Dave. I was hearing about what you're saying there with the China and stuff like this. Now, that was the first event there for the WC, and I think they did a great job. A lot of hoops that had to be jumped through doing that show at that particular location, and a lot of it had to do with working with the State Athletic Commission, but then also with the Native Athletic Commission. That was a lot of hoops that had to be jumped through there, and my role at that point in time, I'm just supposed to be like a goodwill ambassador, realistically the commissioner. I tell you what, I was definitely much more of a goodwill ambassador because I had to keep moving. I had the slow as these guys were thinking, have you guys never starved and realized something's not eaten in the last 3 or 4 days? They probably have not even consumed any liquid. You guys are just, I couldn't believe the type of things that they were doing. And I mean, literally, I knew that by.
Well, the night.
It was as much as I had to.
The night of weigh-ins, I thought I was going to starve to death because we were there. Weigh-ins went about 4 or 5 hours?
Oh, it was absolutely ridiculous. And literally, by me prodding and getting them to at least do the weight, all your paperwork, all the medicals can be done afterwards. And that was so slow just to get these poor athletes weighed in. And then they finally got them weighed in, and then 2 or 3 weight classes. And then the athletic commission would wander off somewhere else. I couldn't believe. I swear to God, I was a shadow and had to bring them right back again and go, let's keep on our task. Let's get the weigh-ins done. We can take care of all these other issues, and we'll have a bunch of happy, healthy competitors.
Right. Well, you know, the night of the fights, I had an 11-page script that they had sent me, and a lot of the fights had changed. And so I'm standing there with my script, and I'm trying to fill it in as I can go. And I remember when I was bringing the guys out to do kind of the parade of fighters, I looked at Team USA, and I go, am I forgetting anybody?
No, I mean, well, the thing is that is the thing about the fight game is you were given information how many weeks before, and not knowing what change just occurred in the last 24 hours, and then you don't even have the bio information, and then you've got the language barrier, because we weren't not just Team China. We had representatives. You had a Russian representative, Chinese representative, and what else
Portuguese.
was it?
Portuguese.
Yeah, Portuguese. So if they could, it's not like there was any interpreters there. I mean, you're just kind of winging it and doing the best you can.
Yeah. It was fun. It was an exciting event, and I know things can be tightened up for next time, and I'm sure it will be. While I have you on the phone, though, I got to thank you. Your partner in crime that was doing play-by-play with you, Chad Range, out of St. Louis. He told me, he said, you know, he goes, Dan kept calling you Dangerous Dave Davis. Well, that got back to the Midwest. It got back to the Midwest. The color commentators at the role. I mean, it gets a little boring if you just hold the play-by-play. You got to realize it. Well, the same way in announcing, by you putting your spin on things, the way that you introduction. I mean, you really surprised me the way you brought it and the way that you presented each of these fighters. Fantastic, and that's what it is. People don't realize when you go to watch a mixed martial show or something like this, I would think that almost probably 80-90% of it is the showmanship type or entertainment quality to it, and probably 10-20% of it boils down to the athleticism of the athletes and what the outcome is. It's the lights, the glitter, the announcer, the music. It's all part of it. It's a show within a show.
Right. Dave and Dan, I want to thank you guys both for calling in. We're about to wrap up here.
Hey, it was great.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me call. Thanks for letting me call in. I'll let you guys hang up. Thanks. Good talking to you, Dan. Bye.
Well, Dangerous, you take care of yourself.
I will. You have a good day. Have a safe trip down to Nashville. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Dan, I want to thank you sincerely for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. I'm sure all our fans appreciate it. Love to have you on again.
Just check in with me again somewhere down the road, and I'll let you know how retirement is going along. How's that there, Fred?
Sounds really good. Thanks, Dan.
Okay. You as well. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Dan. Have a great day, man.
That was an awesome interview with Dan the Beast Severn, UFC Hall of Famer, on the Funky Monkey Radio MMA. We are out.
Also, before we leave, I just wanted to give a shout-out to KOBKfighter.com. Go over there and get you some shorts. I'm telling you what, their T-shorts are the best you can get, and they look sweet. I just got to say that. But
$10 T-shirts this week, too.
What was that, Fred?
$10 T-shirts this week, too. $10 T-shirts for anybody ordering this week.
Yeah, that's a deal right there. Got some awesome T-shirts. And also, I wanted to tell you, go ahead and give us a like on Facebook.com/The Funky Monkey MMA. Go ahead and give us a like on there. Stay up to date with us. We're going to be having some more big interviews, so stay tuned. Go like us on Facebook, and we'll keep you updated when our next one is. Thank you. I'm Rob Meade.
I'm Fred Rodriguez.
And we're out. Have a great night.